Right. What do we need? Probably water. All right. Wait for somebody to jump on, and I'll kick off. Tick tock, tick tock. Who's going to jump on? Who's going to jump on? Let's send Zippo a message. Streaming out. Probably out though. Come on, somebody jump on, and I'll kick off. There's no point to myself. Although it's the most intelligent conversation I usually get. Yeah. Hey, here we go. Got one. Right, I want to do some system latency testing quickly, in performance mode specifically for Fortnite, because I do not think Reflex is doing anything in performance mode DX11. I don't think it is. I've tested and proven loads of times that DX12 it has an impact, even when the GPU is not bound, even when the GPU is not getting really high percentages and being utilized a lot, which it doesn't ever happen in Fortnite anyway. So I've shown that it does have an effect on DX12, but I do not think Reflex is having an effect on DX11 in performance mode. And that's probably one of the reasons why Fortnite actually hide the option. So we're going to do a bit more testing. I've already run through these once, but I'm going to run through them live now as well. So I'm going to test all the different possible options for Reflex. I'm going to test off, on, and on plus boost. And I've already, as I say, I've already done it in DX12 earlier, and I posted those. Hey, Toon, posted those results on my Discord earlier today. So you can see it makes a difference in DX12. But the fact that they hide it in in performance mode makes me think that, well, that's a good question. Are they actually hiding it in DX11, pure DX11? I'm curious. I've never actually tried. So performance mode, right? Let's go DX11 and restart. I want to see if the option is there for Reflex in the DX11, because I do not think it is. I don't think it's being used. So the advantages of my setup is I've got NVIDIA Reflex latency analyzer built into my monitor. So I can plug my mouse into my monitor and the monitor then into the PC, and it measures end to end from when I click to when I see it on screen. So that's the advantage I've got that most of you guys don't have. So I can measure that bottom line there that says system latency, all the way from the mouse to the monitor. And most of you guys, when if you don't have a monitor that can do that, you're only measuring a little bit in between, and that can change a lot, and the actual end-to-end latency doesn't really change at all. So often you'll make a change based on the kind of bit in the middle numbers coming up or down, but it doesn't actually affect the end-to-end latency, or if it does it in a way you wouldn't expect. So the ability to measure end-to-end latency is basically the end game, and otherwise you're just guessing most of the time. Right, let's have a look. So we've just put it in DX11. Here we go, DX11, right? Do I have Reflex? I do have Reflex. That's interesting. So one of the things here, so this is what we're basically testing, whether or not this affects DX11 and performance mode. But if it's in this DX11 environment, then I would have thought it did affect it, because I'm pretty sure when Reflex first came out, it was only for DX12. And I think that maybe they bolted on DX11 later. So, so yeah, let's test it again. So we're going to go with off. So one of the things you can dynamically change this in DX12 or DX11 as you're testing, but you can't do that in performance mode. So the only way to actually do it without having to go back to DX11 or DX12 menu system and reboot and then go back in again and change it back to performance mode. The only way you can really, the easiest way to do it is to actually load the game user settings in eFile. And the latency tweaks are here basically. The first one turns on the latency markers. It adds latency markers to the game, so you can kind of measure the in-game bit. The second one is the NVIDIA Reflex level. So 0 is off, 1 is on, and 2 is on plus boost. And the latency flash thing doesn't work anymore, it broke. But luckily, it works in the NVIDIA Experience Center. So this is what we're going to play with, this number here. So we're basically going to set it to 0, restart Fortnite in performance mode, test, close Fortnite, set it to 1, start Fortnite, test, close Fortnite, set it to 2, start Fortnite, test. That's what we're going to do. Right, so that's the plan. So we need to go back into performance mode. Because most people play in performance mode. Not many people playing DX12. Especially not if you're playing comp. Alright. So we're going to start with off, right? We start now. Oh, Fireboy, how you doing? So I went to update my PC BIOS because it was outdated. I downloaded the Gigabyte app, sent it to update the BIOS. And my preset, and I waited 2 hours. I had a black screen for 2 hours. And then decided and I tried to open my PC again. It opens for 3 seconds with RGB and then no fan's working. And it just keeps restarting like every 4 seconds. So is my motherboard bricked? No, probably not bricked. If it's in a power cycle, it's called a power cycle loop. Just Google power cycle on your motherboard. Often that will be due to maybe your CMOS battery, the little round battery on your motherboard. It might have died. So it might be worth changing your battery first and then try to reflash the BIOS again. You should have a port on your PC that is for flashing the BIOS. So if you can get the latest BIOS on a USB stick, go on another computer, download the BIOS files onto the USB stick, make sure it's in the root directory, don't put it in a subdirectory on the USB stick, and then put that USB stick, memory stick, into the BIOS port. You should be able to get into your BIOS and flash it, and then you should be able to update it. But no, I don't think your motherboard's bricked. I mean, I've had situations where that's happened to me before, and it's just a case of trying again. But yeah, you need to be very sure that the BIOS version is right. Otherwise, that can mess things up. There's also a way of factory resetting it, I think, as well, isn't there? Often motherboards have factory reset options too. Sometimes just taking your CMOS battery out, take it out for 10 minutes. Make sure all your power is completely out, all your cables are completely out. But yeah, no, you should be able to get out of it. I think there's a 99% chance that you'll be able to get back to where you were fine. So just keep. No, it shouldn't take 2 hours. So no, a BIOS flash should take 5 minutes max. If it's taking 2 hours, there's something very wrong. No. Didn't work. Right, what was I doing before you guys distracted me? Hello, Mr. Biscuit. Hello, how are you? Right, so I'm doing testing at the moment, I'm afraid, so no gameplay. So what are we? We're on Reflex 0, right? We're on off. On off. We are setting it to off right now. Reload that. So it's on 0. Okay. So latency tweak 0. So Reflex is currently on off. So let's run some tests and compare them. So I was scared then. I just took off the cable power supply. Also, I decided to get into a technician tomorrow because I'm not comfortable doing anything with my motherboard. Yeah, normally it only takes 5 minutes, normally. Yeah, it does warn you not to disconnect your power while you're doing a flash or you're in trouble. So, I would basically look up your motherboard's support documentation, and then it will walk you through the different ways you can flash your BIOS. Just read that. Got an Apex on-core and I'm on an old BIOS. There's a saying, if it's not... See, I don't agree with that tune, unfortunately, because the BIOS updates, they do fix a lot of performance issues. And especially if you've got newer hardware with an old BIOS version, it will not be configured to work very well with that new CPU or something. So the very first thing I always do when I get a new PC is I update the BIOS to the very latest one, always. And if there's a new one coming out after I've built the system later, I will update to it. And I'll make a little video, record a video of me going through every single option of the BIOS and then flash it with the latest version. And then I will go through and follow the video back and put everything back to how it was, because flashing the BIOS resets everything. Yeah. I'd still be on the latest, mate. You don't know what it's doing. I'd always be on the latest. Anyway, right. Well, you guys are distracting me. I need to do some testing. I need to do what's on the title. Right, so I'm going to do Alt-2 to get my NVIDIA Reflex stats up. I'm going to wander over here. And we're going to start a game. And we're going to take some measurements. Now I'm capping in game at the moment, so there's nobody saying I'm cheating with RTSS. I'm capping in game. So there's no RTSS running at the moment. We'll do 50 pickaxe swings. Might do it more than once if we get weird numbers. What's the other thing? Yeah, so you can see down the left, right, we've got average PC latency, we've got average mouse latency, we've got average PC plus display latency, and then we've got average system latency. So just a quick recap on those terms. Quick recap. Come on. Right. So you got your mouse, your CPU, your render queue, GPU, and then the display. So from clicking the mouse, I'm measuring all the way through to how it's then shown on the display. So you've got your render latency, which is the render queue and the GPU. Your game latency, which is the CPU and the game. So the PC latency includes everything from here to here, CPU, render queue, and GPU. That's the PC latency. That's this one here, which will kick in actually when I start clicking, I think. But we'll do in a minute. Hang on. Let me go back to Fortnite and click the right mouse so it actually changes the values. Render latency down there. Now it's changed. You see that? Now it's realized that Reflex is running. It's now changed to average PC latency. So that's added that one. Where is Jiro is just on. There we go. Right, so there you've got we've got the PC latency and then the display latency. So that's this one here, PC latency plus display latency. And then you've got system latency, which is basically the input device, the CPU, the render queue, the GPU, and the display all together. and then it'll average the ones, I'm going to do 50 times, it'll average them for me, so I don't have to calculate it myself. So we're basically looking at this bottom number here for complete end-to-end system latency. Yeah. Most of you guys, if you do not have a display monitor with the NVIDIA Reflex latency analyzer built in or an LDAT system, the only thing you're actually looking at typically a render queue, GPU, you're kind of looking at here and here. So you're missing kind of the bits on the end. So being able to do it end to end is huge, because these numbers can change and you think you're lowering latency, but you're actually not, because it depends what the display's doing and your mouse is doing and everything else. Hello Alex, shall I set my GPU to fastest core? No, it doesn't really matter. It's just any core that's away from, any performance core that's away from CPU 0. It really doesn't matter whether it's microscopically faster. The important thing is you move it away from the busiest core to spread the load. That's the important bit. So do not get hung up on which the fastest core is. It's good to do, but it's not that important at all. Right, anyway, so let's swing a pickaxe and get some numbers. All right, so let's reset the averages. So I've got a keyboard for that. So my averages are reset, that bottom number. And we're going to swing 50 times. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 21, 22, 23, 5, 6, 27, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 5, 40, 41, 42, 43, 44, 45, 46, 47, 48, 49, 50. Okay, so we're looking at about 8.6. Somebody remember that. I'm going to write it in the chat. So reflex off equals 8.6 milliseconds. Yeah? We got it. So that's the very bottom number down there. That's the average. So now we're going to change to on, reflex on. So in order to do that, we need to close Fortnite. We need to change that number in the config file. Yes. Right, so we're going to go to a 1 now for the latency tweak. So on, that's just on. And then we'll do 2 at the end, which is on plus boost. Okay. Bum, 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 bum. Got to say, I'm normally about 8.3 with on plus boost, so you can see that it did make a little difference there. Yeah, 8.3 is kind of my standard at 360 FPS. It's the one I normally get. Now let's see what on's like. Right. Creative. So the other thing I wanted to do on this is I wanted to go, at the end of this, I want to turn it off. I want to turn Reflex off, and I want to try low latency mode in the NVIDIA control panel. Now, these Reflex things are only meant to be relevant when you're nearing 100% GPU utilization. When you're GPU bound, in other words. Which I'm not, clearly, because my GPU percentage down there, look, it's about 50% when I'm DX12ing, and look, I'm about 29, 30, 31, 30% GPU utilization right now. So I'm nowhere near GPU bound. So it shouldn't really be affecting anything. But anyway, here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 12, 13, 14, 15. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40, 41, 42, 43, 44, 45, 46, 47, 48, 49, 50. Wow, 8. Well, 8.1. 8.1. Let's do that again, because that is low. Do that one more time. 8.1. No, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40, 41, 42, 43, 5, 46, 47, 48, 49, 50. Oh, 8.1 again. So reflex on equals 8.1 milliseconds. Sorry, I have to. Right. So that's definitely an improvement, isn't it? Alt F4. Half a milliseconds. Right. So we're now going to go to 2. Go again now. No, because you get the recommended NVIDIA themselves recommend 30 swing, 30 to get a decent average. The more you go, the more accurate the average is going to be. So you do get some fluctuations as you go. Just need to get rid of those fluctuations. Move them out. So the more the better, basically, but I just don't want to sit here doing 100. I'll send myself to sleep. Okay. In 8 milliseconds is still very good. 5-year-old computer. I mean, I'm going to be really interested to see what my new PC, my new God PC is going to be like in comparison for latency. Definitely going to run a lot hotter. But whether or not, I think it could be actually higher latency. I would not be surprised if it's higher latency. I mean, it's going to be, why am I saying that? It's going to be running higher CPU frequencies. So I'm basically going from 5 gigahertz up to 6 gigahertz. The memory speed is going to go from 3,900 to 7,200. So that's kind of nearly doubling. But the latency will be doubling. I'm going to be going from about 30 nanoseconds up to about 60 nanoseconds. So the memory latency will be doubling and getting worse, even though the bandwidth of the memory is going to be a lot better. The GPU should be a lot faster. So again, that should lower latency. So I'm going to be really interested to see whether I normally get around 8 at 360 FPS, whether or not I actually get a lower number than 8 at 360 FPS on the new computer. That's what's going to be interesting to me. I want to be able to compare them. I'm curious of the impact of the memory latency. between the two systems. All right. Probably shouldn't have wiggled around there. Let me start that again. I want to do it from exactly the same spot. Exactly the same spot, please. I don't want to move. Line that up. Reset the numbers. This is on plus boost. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 88, 9, 40, 41, 42, 43, 44, 45, 46, 47, 48, 49, 50. 8.6. That seems a bit high, doesn't it? Most of those numbers were really low when I was doing that. And then again. Running it back. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Restart. Thank you, Epic. 1, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 38, 39, 40, 41, 42, 43, 44. That just crashed and restarted on its own. Didn't touch it. What's going on? Something weird's going on. I'd trust these numbers if it wasn't for the fact that this is what I normally test at, and it's almost always 8.2, 8.3. Actually, the numbers up here that you guys can't see, which is the 7.5 and the 6.4, they're actually really low. You can see them. They're PC plus display latency down there. All right, let's go again. 1, 4, 6, 7, 8. Is it normal for your GPU, CPU, and fans on your to run loud when updating BIOS? No, it's not normal. Is the AMD Ryzen a good CPU? If it says X3D at the end and it's an AMD, it means it's good for gaming because it's got a lot of cache. Got extra cache right next to the CPU, and the game can use that. So if it's closer to the CPU, it's going to be faster. 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 28, 29, 1, 2, 3, 9, 40, 21, 22, 23, 4, 25, 27, 28, 29, 50. Well, 8.5. I mean, I'm gonna have to report that because That's a lot higher than our best score of just on. So what do we got? Let's scroll up. Reflex off was 8.6. On plus boost was 8.5. And on was 8.1. So should we be running with on? See if we can repeat this with on again. See if we can repeat this with on. That's interesting. Because normally on, for me, in previous seasons, has given by far the worst latency. You would have thought that's the one in the middle, not the best one or the worst one, but what do you know? Well, it depends what Epic have done with the code, really, doesn't it? Yeah, Fireboy. Something got stuck. You got stuck. Something got stuck, and it just left the fans on full whack. Something froze during the update. So you either need to rerun it again, if you can, or I seriously think you should change that CMOS battery as a basic starting point. But normally to get to the CMOS battery, you actually have to unseat the GPU, take it up a bit, and kind of get it underneath, take the battery out, put a new one in, and then plug the GPU back into the board again. It's normally awkward positioning for that battery. We're going back to on. Yeah, an 8.1 here. I'll be insanely surprised. Mm-hmm. All right, let's try again. Set the numbers. Ready. Wait, why have I already got one? Let's reset these. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40, 41, 42, 43, 44, 45, 46, 47, 48, 49, 50. So now we're 8.7. So we've gone from 8.6. We've gone from, which is basically what we had for off. We've gone from 8.1 when we measured this before to 8.6. So this is a margin of error. Ooh. The other thing I want to know is in the GeForce experience, there's the option to actually increase the number of samples it uses. But I'm wondering whether that's for kind of the average PC latency. If I went to like 200, would it stabilize it a bit more? Because that jumps around a lot, the average. That's jumping around. For an average, if you leave it running for a while, you would have thought the average would change by one at a time. It's been running, so for 250 samples, it's only going to go up or down by one not jump around. Two, three, 6, 7, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31. What do you want? 42, 43, 44, 45, 46, 47, 48, 49, 50. See, I know now that when I've increased that to 200, crashed. When I increased that to 200 samples, the average system latency, the bottom number, wasn't moving around as much. It wasn't jumping. That was going up and down quite consistently. But does that now expect me to do 200 samples? 51, 52, 53, 54, 55, 56, 57, 58, 59, 60, 61, 62, 63, 6, 67. I think that 8.0 was an anomaly myself. It was an anomaly. So I think we're going to go back to what we just had. Wait, what? I'm going to go with on plus boost. I'm just going to leave it on that. Normally the best setting. I wanted to show you guys something else while we're here. If I instead use RTSS to cap at 360.11, but here I set the I set it to be NVIDIA Reflex. Let's actually look at the description of this. I need to take a screenshot here. It keeps going off. In this mode, RTSS disables its own precise frame pacing. Yeah, well, we like frame pacing, and uses NVIDIA's own frame rate limiter instead. This mode is intended to be used in conjunction with DLSS frame generation, which is generally not compatible with any third-party frame limiters. You can also use this mode in games with no native NVIDIA Reflex support. Enabling NVIDIA Reflex frame rate limiter in such titles will also enable NVIDIA low latency mode as a side effect. So that's a different thing. Well, low latency mode is in the NVIDIA control panel. This mode is only supported on NVIDIA GPUs for DirectX 11 and DirectX 12 applications only. Yeah, so I ran this earlier and I was in 7s. Let's try that. You don't get frame pacing, and I love frame pacing because it's like dancing to a standard beat. If you start changing the beat, it's very difficult to dance to it. That's your muscle memory, basically. You're trying to do your timing to something with an irregular beat. So having frame pacing keeps the beat regular. So we lose that by using this reflex. So I need to go to unlimited FPS in here so that we don't have two frame rate limiters running at the same time. Then you can go into creative and see what's what. what is what? Sleep. Right, reset the averages. Okay, ready? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40, 41, 42, 43, 44, 45, 46, 47, 48, 49, 50, 8.5. So, as I say, I had that 7.9 earlier. Definitely margin of error going on. Definitely margin of error going on. And then I go back to what I normally run at with the frame pacing. Async. I turn the inject reflex latency markers off, by the way, because there's already reflex latency markers on in game anyway. So don't need them. You only need them if you're measuring latency, and I've already ticked them in Fortnite to actually add them, so you don't need RTSS adding more. Okay. So we're running, this is what I typically run myself as at now. Async with frame pacing. So let's see how much latency RTSS adds. In theory, it should be 1 frame. And at 360 FPS, that's 2.7 milliseconds. In theory. So let's see if it's 8.3 plus 2.7, so 11. So let's see if it's going to be average system 11 milliseconds by running RTSS. That's what the conventional wisdom is. You lose a frame's worth of latency in RTSS. That's the conventional wisdom. So let's see if they're right. Ready? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. They're right so far. 7, 8, 9, 10. They are right so far. What's going on? Actually, what's going on? Why is that so high? That crashed again. Do you see that? Something weird's going on. Something weird is going on. That's set up right. That's on async, which is set up right. That's set up right. Something's going on. Oh la la! Do, 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 do. Boom, boom. What is going on? Here in time, please. Why is this being so slow? Normally I can reboot in under 20 seconds. See, something's going on that's weird. I knew something was going weird. going on that was weird? Internet or something. Why is this so slow? Holy moly. I did install Office earlier. Maybe that's done something weird. What is going on? Something's going on. More processes, that seems a bit high. Something. Something's definitely going on. Normally by a minute, this thing's dead quiet. So something's running. Anti-malware service. Where's that coming from? That's Defender. Why is that being so busy? NVIDIA RLA. Overlay? That's the overlay. What is that? What is that? NVIDIA framework. Oh, I reckon it's that. One thing I installed earlier was Frame View. I'm wondering whether that's running a service that's conflicting with something. Sorry. Could it be the TCP viewer? That. I think it's that. I probably need to get rid of that as well, just in case that's doing something in the background. Steam's trying to do something, or Office is trying to do something, or OneDrive's trying to do something. I should really get rid of OneDrive. I want to get rid of OneDrive. Or do I? Might leave OneDrive, but I don't want it trying to run and start up. Which it isn't. Well, Teams is, yeah, I definitely don't want Teams. God knows what that's going to be doing in the background. It's a Windows app. Yeah, I need to take that off. If that's doing stuff in the background while I'm trying to latency test, it's going to be mucking everything up. Guaranteed. Yeah, I'll show you the Intel thing I was running earlier. Intel Present Mom. Oh, you'd actually have to run. You'd actually have to run something. I swear that was starting its own services, which could be messing things up. I think I'm going to take that off as well. Yeah, let's take those off. Oh, la, 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 la. Always something. That's what happens when you do live testing. Too many cooks. What was the What do we want to get rid of here? Teams. This keeps coming back. AI Copilot. Don't need Outlook. Is that everything? Everything. That's all that nonsense. D-below. Are you able to scroll or reset? Yeah, sure. Do I have it on this environment? Yeah, I think I do. All right. So, is my controller not plugged in? Yeah, it is. Why is that not picking it up? Or maybe I just haven't set it up on this environment. Okay, that's cleaned out. Let's do it when I get into actually game and I can show you. It's easier. So that's still closed. Right, I'm just going to restart quick after doing those uninstalls. Yeah, I can show you in a sec though. Really easy. Yeah, I wouldn't use anti-micro. I'd use anti-micro X. It tends to be more stable. We're on version 3.3.4 for anti-micro X. Is that right? Or is it 3.4? Remember now. Do you play chess? No. Used to when I was younger. Not anymore. Why is this taking so long to log in now? Seriously, look, it always just gets stuck. I don't like that. Like that at all. That's new since I installed Office today. What is taking so long to boot up? What are you taking so long to start up? Nothing particularly there. 1 second, NVIDIA profile updater on logon. It's that. Not sure. I'm not sure. Right, anyway, so task manager. I want to make sure my system's stable if I'm testing it. So now we're down to 92 processes. We're on like 10 less than what we were before. I think weird's going on. Right with this. It's normally gives an indication if it's bad or not. 1.36, 1.35, that's not too bad. 0.47 is a little higher than it normally is, but that's showing that it's not doing much elsewhere. Well, that's fine. All right, go back in again. I'm going back in. Right, so I'll do my controller thing. Let me just check that the latency's not gone mental still, and then I'll do the controller setup. In your own time, please. Time. Right. How much difference between Antimicro and Antimicro X? Well, Antimicro was discontinued many, many, many years ago, and Antimicro X was basically they picked up the project and kept developing it. So it's got more functionality and it's typically more stable. Let me just do a sanity check on this to make sure that my latency is not through the roof still, i.e. 11. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. See, we're back down to 8.3s and 8.4s, so that's better. I don't know what's going on there. Weird. Right, controller. Hello, controller. So we're going to map scroll wheel up and scroll wheel down to mouse scroll wheel up and down. Yeah? So let's open. Do I even have? So what we're going to do? We can put this. We want to be able to. I haven't got edit. I haven't got edit bounds. Let me bind edit quickly so you can see what's going on. Where's edit? Oh, I need to go down all the way down to here, don't I? Because they put it over there. Take that out of the way. Where's building edit? Edit building. That, no. Building, that. Confirm. Back. Save. Did that work? E. Right. So we're going to basically do it so that instead of you having to do 2 buttons to reset something, we're just going to use scroll wheel on 1 button. We're just going to use scroll down, and then I'm going to bind scroll wheel down to actually one of the paddles. So I just press a paddle, and it scroll wheel resets all. 1 press. Right. Off on a tangent here, but I promised I'd do this quickly. All right, so anti-micro. So first of all, we need to set up this, update to 3.4. What am I running here then? Really? Come on, let's go and update. I want to update. If there's an update, I want to update. .4 latest. So we grab the Windows AMD one. That. Folder. Click that, install that. Make sure that the current one's closed actually. Wait, is that running? Oh no, it's because I've got to get it open. I was trying to do it a second ago. There we go. Make sure the original one's closed. Right, finish. This is installed on my computer. And now when I start this, should be 3.4. All right, perfect. There's that. So, right, first things first. Pref, you want to make sure key time press is down to the low as it can go. Then options, settings, you want to make sure your gamepad polling rate is as low as it can go, 1 millisecond, because my one's 0.9-ish. So I don't really want it adding a load more latency on top of that, thank you. So it's not, I've gone from about 0.9 up to 1 by going through this effectively. I normally do hide empty buttons, but we're gonna leave that on for now just so we can set these up, and then I'll hide them at the end. And that should be it for that. There we go. So we've got the buttons now that we can allocate to things. So here's our D-pad. See, D-pad. So there's up and down. So what we're going to do is we're going to do up, and then we're going to do mouse, and then we're going to do wheel up. And then close that. And then do D-pad down, mouse, wheel down. Close. And then you can set the rate at which it does the actual scrolling as well, if you want. So I normally set mouse 4 scroll wheel up to going straight to shotgun, weapon slot 1. So normally in mouse settings here, I only need a vertical speed of 1 because it's only effectively one click. So I normally just do 1 for that. And then the mouse down, I normally do basically, if you're going to use a scroll wheel on the actual scroll wheel, I do that. You want that as fast as you can do it. So I normally put, I think that's 100 for that one. I normally do there. So we got our scroll up, scroll down, set to here. We can now go and hide everything else. Hide empty buttons. Right, so there we go. So we just got that one and that one. And the only two that are bound. Scroll up, scroll down, and that's on your D-pad. So if we save that as scuff build. Yeah, save that as that. And then we have to then run this in the background, so you just minimize that. Now we go into Fortnite settings and we actually set the scroll up and scroll down. Oh, where is it? This one. So we go in here. As I say, I've got weapon slot 1 and scroll wheel up. And I've got, you have edit and reset both to scroll down. There we go. Building edit, scroll down, select that. Just do this via your mouse. And then reset, scroll down. So we've both got scroll down and scroll down, those two and those two. That's the standard window reset, edit reset for the keyboard and mouse are playing. So I'm not testing something at the moment. At the moment, I'm just showing Lab how to do scroll wheel reset with a controller and anti-micro. So I promised I'd show him how to do that on my Discord. So I'm doing that quickly now, and then we'll go back to testing other bits. So we apply and test that. Right, so that should be done. So now, if I've got a window, all I have to do is press scroll wheel 1 button down, and it resets it. So I have to press that once. And then with the paddles, if you've got more than one, you can actually bind a paddle to the D-pad. So all I have to do now is press that one paddle, and it completely resets it. Exactly the same as doing scroll wheel reset. And on my other controller, which I'll show you, hang on, I've actually got a physical scroll wheeler. Hang on. Yeah, so on my Edge, I've actually got a Pro scroller. So because I don't have 4 paddles, I've only got 2 paddles on the Edge. So normally I have a paddle here and a paddle here, but I've actually taken that one off. But you can see very well, I've actually got a Pro scroller attached, which is a physical scroll wheel. I can go scroll wheel up and scroll down on the physical scroll wheel because I've only, as I say, I've only got 2 paddles here normally. I don't have the 4th, so I actually bought a Pro scroller. And that's got a middle mouse button as well. So you can go scroll up, scroll down, and a mouse button. So if you don't want to use the anti-micro for doing it, then look up Pro Scroller on the internet. And buy that. It's not too expensive. I think it's about like $30 or something. It's not crazy expensive. Ugh. But yeah, that's how you do it in anti-micro. So this is a scuff with actually 4 paddles, and I don't have the Pro Scroller. So as I say, I just bind one of the paddles to the D-pad up and the D-pad down. So the 2 inner paddles go D-pad up and D-pad down. And then in the game, in the keyboard and mouse settings, I can then just have 1 button to reset and 1 button to go straight to shotgun. So now look, I can now just press 1 button here, and it goes straight from 3rd slot to straight to first slot. I love that. I couldn't live without that, to be honest, even in 0 builds. I always have to have a button to go straight to shotgun. If that's too fast for you, that resetting, then you can adjust the the rate at which the scroll wheel will run as well. Want to have it a bit slower than that. I think 100 is actually the fastest you can go. Right. How much? Yeah, it's only about, as I say, look up Pro Scroller. I think it's a Swiss company. Normally take a little bit of time to actually ship it over to you, but yeah, I think it's only about $30 or something. It's quite good. You can reset it really quick. But, I mean, these days it's not actually that difficult to just do a reset because you only have to press edit, and then if you set up the binds properly to just thingy on release, edit and release, you just have to press confirm. There's only 2 buttons really these days to reset something. So depends how worth it is to you. I mean, that's 2 buttons. One doing ready, steady, now. It's not particularly slow. Edit, confirm. That's it. Or you can use the scroll wheel and it does that in 1 button. Up to you. But as I say, it's not bannable because it's not macroing. If it was macroing, then everyone on keyboard and mouse which was using scroll wheel reset is macroing, but it's not. It's one action doing the thing, and if it's one action on your scroll wheel, then you're not macroing. One action to do one thing. That's exactly what we're doing here. So it's certainly not macroing, it's certainly not cheating. Make sense? Okay, right. We got that all? So we go back to testing what we were testing before. Take out the controller completely so that can't add any DPC interrupts while we're testing. Okay, let's go back to testing quick. Yeah, so I don't know what the weird thing was with when I switched the RTSS from Reflex to async, which was adding a low latency. I don't know what that was. I don't know whether it was that or whether it's something else running in the background, but now it seems better. I know. Not many people know that scroll wheel or up and down are the only buttons that you can use that do not change the input type. So when you change between keyboard and mouse, controller to keyboard and mouse, you lose aim assist. And if you go back to controller input again, you will still lose aim assist for a couple of seconds. By doing scroll wheel up and scroll wheel down, they are the only 2 key mappings that you can do that do not change the input type. So you keep aim assist the entire time. Not many people know that. I don't think hardly anyone knows that. But I might be the only person on the planet that knows that. Let's work that out. So, yeah, good to know. So, I mean, with my paddles, with that mapper, I could have just mapped, say, when I wanted weapon slot 1, I could have just mapped it straight to the keyboard number 1. But by doing that, it changes the input type to keyboard and mouse, and then I lose aim assist on my shotgun for a bit. But by binding scroll wheel up to my shotgun, don't lose aim assist. Things people don't tell you. Right. Do some pickaxing. Right, back in the game. We're back in the game. But that does look a bit high. Why is that so high? 7, 6s. Okay, now we're in 6s. Right, so double check again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 12. 17. See, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30. 41, 42, 44, 46, 47, 48, 49, 50. I've just thought of another thing it might be. We set those latency samples to 200, didn't we? Yeah, maybe that's adding some overhead. Maybe that's 200 per second or something. I tried Googling what this actually meant. No one knew. Nobody knows. So by default it's 20, but I normally stick it on 50 because that matches how many pickaxe swings I normally do. But I'm wondering whether this is basically for when it's logging, it's doing that many per second maybe, which is in itself is adding overhead. I don't know. Undocumented features, gotta love them. 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 7, 38, 39, 40, 41, 42, 43, 44, 45, 46, 47, 48, 49, 50. 8.6, 8.7. That's with the async on and RTSS compared to what 8.3 normally for 8.3 normally for the in-game limiter. Certainly not a whole frame's worth, 2.7 milliseconds. Certainly not that. Certainly ain't adding that. One thing you guys can actually do, I was thinking about this, see that the fourth number down there, where it says average PC latency? You guys can measure that without having an NVIDIA Reflex latency analyzer monitor. Because that's the bit in the middle. That's the bit in the middle that's kind of software. That's the PC's bit. So you guys can monitor that, but obviously it doesn't have the mouse and it doesn't have the physical monitor. But if you're tuning, then you might be able to just kind of compare the average PC latencies. Again, I don't understand why that jumps around so much. Randomizes average PC latencies. It's jumping around. So it's in the kind of 4s, 4.3, 4.7, 4.6, 4.2, 5.1. It typically goes between about high 3s and 5. But that's the bit in the middle. Now, if you're tuning, it should come down. Make sense? Right. I think we're probably done here. I think the conclusion was there was no conclusion. When I tested this in DX12, there was a definite trend between it got better and better from Reflex off to then Reflex on, and then on plus boost was much better. And when I then did that back to back straight into performance mode, it wasn't actually much difference. It was all in around 8.3 with the in-game limiter. But in theory, Reflex is only meant to affect GPU-bound situations, which means high GPU. If you look down there, see how much my GPU utilization is right now? 21%. Nowhere near 100% there for a GPU-bound situation. So in theory, Reflex and low latency mode shouldn't even be doing anything. Should make no difference whatsoever. In theory. Right. Bum, 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 bum. Everybody stop watching anyway. So I'm going to leave it there. That was fun. I hope we all learned something. I know I did. Turn that off. I learned not to install all those extra NVIDIA PresentMon stuff in the background because you just don't know what's happening. It's going to mess it up, isn't it? But yeah, as I was saying, if you guys can use the overlay, the latency overlay, and actually still see the PC latency, that's the bit you're trying to tune anyway. I mean, you can't really tune your mouse unless you overclock it, and you can't really tune the display unless you kind of overclock that as well, or choose a higher refresh rate. So the bit that you're trying to optimize anyway is the PC latency bit, which you don't need the end-to-end latency LDAT and thingy for. You just need NVIDIA experience and turn on the overlay. So the average PC latency is what you guys are after. If as I say, I'm normally between about high 3s and to about 5. I've seen 3.7s up to about 5.2s normally. But that's all that lot. The Fortnite is a CPU bound game. Because the higher the FPS you're trying to achieve, the more frames the CPU has to prepare to then give to the render queue, to then give to the GPU to actually then display. So the GPU, if you're running low resolution, is basically saying, well, that was easy, that was easy, that was easy, come on, give me some more. So the bottleneck is the CPU, because it can't prepare the frames quick enough to give to the GPU, and the GPU is banging them out to the display really fast. Unless you increase the amount of work the GPU is doing by having higher textures, view distance, everything else. So yeah, Fortnite, CPU bound game. The faster you can make this, the more FPS you're going to have. Hey, Mike, how you doing, buddy? Faster you can make your CPU, the more FPS you're going to get, the better your gaming experience is going to be. Not about having a 4090 GPU. It's just not. Unless you're running full epic level on all the textures and everything else, the GPU's going to be bored. The FPS, the higher FPS is all about the CPU, and obviously that talks to your memory up here and talk back and forth to actually do more. So faster CPU, faster memory equals more FPS. All right, I think we're done. I'm going to play some games. So I'm going to stop streaming on YouTube now, and I'm just going to stream Fortnite playing on Twitch, I think. Twitch tends to prefer watching gaming, and YouTube prefers watching tuning. So as we're finishing the tuning, I am going to stop the for watching on YouTube. So if you want to keep watching, jump over to my Twitch channel. There should be lots of links somewhere in the chat above for the Twitch. So I'm going to say goodbye to the YouTubers for now, and I'll catch you again soon.